Good morning and welcome. No, it's not morning. When did it change time?
We have no light in here, we don't know.
You know, ever since we've had this time change here in Indiana, it has just thrown me off significantly. So please excuse me. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting of March 19th, 2018. I've got that date right. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce the commission members. To my right is Gordon Rundle. Immediately to my left is Brody Duncan. And then we have Rhonda Schwartz and Dr. Terry Reed. So we have established that we have a quorum. I'd also like to introduce the staff. We have Tim Gropp on my very far right, Tim Ramian, who is in the audience, our executive assistant. And then we also have our consultant, Tim Jensen, with the Veritas Group. Thank you for coming, Tim. And then welcome to the audience. It's great to see such a tremendous turnout. Let's get started. We'll call the meeting to order, and I'd like to open this up to public comments. So if anyone in the audience would like to make a public comment, please do so.
All right.
Oh, good. We have one.
Well, I can make a public comment. I'm Marilyn Feaster, City County Councilor, and this is part of my district. And the public comment that I would like to share with you and hope that you will share with others is my job fair is coming up, April the 10th. So anyone that's looking for a job or looking to upgrade their job, please come. It'll be about 60 employers that night. That day. Time
See,
change
we're
is
so
throwing me off,
confused
too.
about the timing.
We have that in common. It will be April the 10th from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Lakeview Church, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump down on 47 Beachway Drive. So I hope you'll share that with any and all.
Great, thank you very much, Marilyn. I appreciate that, and thank you for
I'm looking
coming.
forward to hearing the rest of your information.
Great.
Do you happen to have a flyer on that we could post on our website? About
I
upcoming
have
events?
a digital flyer that I just got last Friday, so
We
I
could
can
get that to
send
Tim. We'll get
Sure.
it posted on our website.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Great.
That's-
Yeah, we just launched our new website for the Speedway Redevelopment Commission, and it's an excellent site, has a tremendous wealth of information. It's easy to navigate.
Terrific.
So I would encourage any of your constituents, you can encourage them to go to the site.
Sure.
We'll have that posted in advance of your job fair.
All right, thank
So
you very
thank you.
much.
Great, appreciate that. Okay, any other comments from the public? Great. So, no further comments. Let's proceed to the consent of our meeting minutes. Our regular session meeting minutes and the executive sessions and the joint executive session, all those documents have been distributed prior to our meeting. And that is the regular session of February 19th, 2018, the SRC executive session of February 26th, 2018, and then the joint executive session of March 1st with the Town Council of 2018. So unless anyone has any suggested edits or revisions, and hearing none, we'll accept those by consent. Thank you, everybody. The next item on the agenda is the approval of our claims and expenses, and again, they had been previously distributed to me and then just distributed by the town clerk treasurer, and we'll take a moment to go through those to see if anyone has any questions or needs any further explanation of any of the claims.
It's a pretty straightforward month. All these are basically month-to-month bills that we have to pay anyway, so nothing out of the ordinary. I would like to know, this is the first time in a long time it's been one page, so.
Sure. That's a good sign. That's an excellent sign.
Yeah.
You'll notice that there are some legal expenses related to the acquisition of the Bassard real estate.
That should be the last one for
And
those.
that will close that transaction out completely.
Yes.
Right. Any other questions of Tim? I'll entertain a motion to accept the claims and expenses.
I move that we accept the claims and expenses.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? So no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes 4-0. Next item on our agenda is, actually, we have no resolutions. There's no new business to discuss. We have one holdover item from the last meeting of our old business, and that's the consideration of the proposals that were solicited for the 4300 West 10th, also known as the Gilman Street parcel. So,
Mr. President, we
Yes,
skipped over project updates.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't wake up this morning, Tim. Did you notice that?
Skipping time.
You know,
I was just gonna
having
let
a
you go.
difficult
You're
time.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you off. You were on a roll there, but.
Retired life.
Well, yeah, it must be that retired life. Let me roll back to item number 6, which is the project updates. And if I had not gotten back to item number 6, Mr. Jensen would have made this trip for naught, and it would have been a wasted trip. And I didn't want you to waste your time, Tim.
It's never a
so
waste coming to the town of Speedway, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. It's good to hear you say that. So if you wouldn't mind, please give us
Sure.
an update on Wilshaw.
Yeah, thank you. So Wilshaw is moving forward. You guys have probably seen the progress out there. They've got the elevator towers are underway on the south building and should be started here on the north building, or the one is on the north building already.
North building's up right now.
Is up, and then the one on the south building is almost complete. The foundations are starting to come out of the ground. The steel is up, or starting to be up, almost complete on the north building. So there's a lot of activity out there. You may have heard that the water line was converted over for Praxair. That with just a little bit of outage last week, there was just a small issue that happened after the fact, but that they took care of it right away. So that was all done and coordinated. I'll let Mr. Gropp give you an update on the meeting that I was not able to attend today regarding the parking, which has been a big concern over the construction parking that's necessary.
Yeah, just a few piggybacks on what Tim said. The apartments plan on getting framing up starting the end of this month already, so the next couple weeks. So you should have a pretty good feel for the north building of the apartments real soon. The hotel is planning on starting hopefully sometime in mid-May, possibly early June. Mid-May is a tough time to start around here, but that's kind of where they're tracking right now to get all their approvals and all the reviews and permits that they need is kind of mid-May. So we're excited about that as well. You will see, just so everybody knows, the current barricade that's there with all the pictures and everything will be coming down. That'll be replaced with fencing. That just part of the
Just
construction.
temporary fencing that's currently around the
Exactly.
project.
But with both construction groups coming, we met with them today to kind of go over and get a head start on where's everybody going to be, here's the rules of the road, go over all just get ahead of the curve, make sure people know don't park on Main Street. If you have to do something on Main Street, try not to do it during the lunchtime hours to make sure we have as much parking as possible. Don't muddy up our roads, all the little things you need to do. Everybody seems to be on the same page. It's a little unique situation because you have two construction groups on a really tight site. So that'll be an interesting coordination, but they seem to be getting along very well and shouldn't have any problems, hopefully. So as far as parking, they are working on, we obviously have some parking on the north side, but they're trying to work with IMS to use some of their parking on the 16th Street side. So that seemed to kind of work itself all out. They're waiting for final approvals, but they intend to use the triangle next to the Speedway gas station as staging for the hotel. They will be getting deliveries on 16th Street. We talked a little bit about construction control there because people still fly around that roundabout way too fast. And they've been advised not to do deliveries between about 8:15 and 9:30 because that area backs up. So either come at 8 or come at 9:30, 10 o'clock for your deliveries because they will have to stop the semi on 16th Street, block a lane while they unload. So we're trying to control that as well. But please be cautious of them. We're going to do what we can to put signs up and make that as safe as possible. But it is it 15 through the roundabout? It's
15 miles per hour.
So I've not yet to meet somebody that does 15 through the roundabout, but that's what it's actually posted.
It's next to a racetrack.
It is next to a racetrack.
It is. It is.
And it's, 15 miles an hour is the posted speed limit. Very few people comply with that. Very difficult to get across the roundabout pedestrian traffic.
And
So
with this,
please be cautious.
Yeah, and with this building being close to the edge, they're going to have workers in the right of way on the sidewalk. So, we don't want any accidents to happen. So that'll be especially cautious there.
Yeah, we might want to ask the town to provide a little bit more surveillance of those areas, maybe a little more patrols.
Yep.
So if you
That
wouldn't
was
mind.
talked about today as well.
Great.
So
Thank you.
we're excited. The project seems to be moving forward, and it's just nice to see it out of the ground now. It becomes a little bit more real. So only see progress moving forward. And as Tim mentioned, they did move over the water line. So they're working on moving the fence back on Prax Air right now. That'll hopefully be done by the end of the week. And then most of the big utility work that we had to take care of should be done at that point.
With the exception of dropping actually making the switch on the electrical lines, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Tim?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Great. Any of the commission members have any questions of either gentleman?
So how are they doing on schedule overall? I mean, are they on schedule? Or?
Yeah, I mean, what started as a pretty slow spring has already gotten warm and dry, which is nice for them. So they've been able to get some stuff done here over the last couple of weeks. So talking to the guys today, they seem to think that they're still on pace to be opening up a building early next year, maybe even late fall is kind of what they're targeting, but they don't want to be too optimistic yet until they get out of the spring. But they're thinking late fall, early next year for the apartment buildings, and the hotel will be likely sometime next summer.
We still have not issued the bonds.
Correct.
We've approved everything on the bonds. Did a little follow up on that. One thing that we will be having Economic Development Commission meeting coming up to elect officers, because while the bond documents have been approved, the actual bonds will need to be signed off, and we need to know who our president and secretary are. So the EDC is just one of those groups that doesn't meet very often, but we need to meet with them, get them organized for the year so we have signers when those bonds come due, because that'll probably be in the next month or so, now that the projects are getting ready to both move.
I should be available. Rhonda, are you going anywhere? Are you going overseas?
Not right now, no.
Not right now. Good. Well, great. Well, thank you, gentlemen. The next item is the 2500 North High School Road project.
We continue to get bits and pieces in. We're hoping to, actually, let me grab my notes here. We've gotten some of the engineering work back. We're actually meeting with NDOT about the drainage ditch to see if that can be relocated. That meeting's next week. We'll be meeting with the engineering firm Kimley Horn and NDOT and the town to discuss that. So we're excited about that meeting. We also have some meetings on some funding options. We've looked into some various, that is in a census tract parcel that would qualify for some programs. So we've looked into those, such as New Market or EB4. We're actually going to designate that parcel as, hopefully designate it. We're going to submit it to the governor's office for recommendation to make it an opportunity zone, which is a newer designation that benefits somebody who would invest in it to be able to claim back some of the investment dollars. So
That's the Economic Investment District?
Correct.
Basically, that legislation?
yes, exactly. So we're going to be putting that on the table. The governor has to take it from there, but we'll get our parcel in. It qualifies, and we think we have a good case for that to be part of that. We may or may not need that. We've had so much interest that I don't think the finding investors is going to be that difficult, but it doesn't hurt to have as many tools on the table as possible. So beyond that, we're hoping to have concepts back. We had the joint meeting to kind of discuss some of the issues out there. Hopefully we'll have concepts back first week or so of April. And then once we have those back and get a chance to look at those, we'll also set a meeting for a public input session where we can kind of unveil those concepts and then get some input to see what the public thinks of that. So narrow it down a little bit and get some feedback. So hopefully that will be the end of April, early May, and then we can start to finalize the concepts so that we can then put some numbers behind it and see where we go from there.
Okay. Any other questions of Tim? How about the 1300 block of North Main Street?
I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. Bell is obviously getting settled in. Their signs, some of their signage on the buildings coming up. With the changeover in ownership on a lot of that block, we've started to move forward in some of the environmental cleanup, specifically in the, I think, P&J Cleaners, which is where the Arts Council is currently located. We have talked to them about the need to actually clean it up. We've been monitored. There was contamination from the previous dry cleaner, and we've been monitoring it, making sure it doesn't hit groundwater, stuff like that. But now we need to actually do the cleanup, the remediation of that. So you might see some work out there. There's going to be some additional drilling, some additional testing in the next few months, but eventually we will be doing some major remediation and groundwork, which will most likely displace the Arts Council. So we're working with them on future of where they might be. Just didn't want anyone to be surprised by that. That was expected at some point. We just didn't know when that would be, but now with the new ownership at Ted's and Autotech recently, we need to get that clean. So if there's redevelopment on that site or any kind of development, we can't really be contaminating adjacent owners' properties. So.
No, the costs associated with the cleanup contamination?
Yeah, so this is not on the town. This is being paid through the insurance company of the former cleaners. So this is not our cleanup. It just happens to be the property that we own. So we actually met with the environmental consultants on the cleanup plan. So kind of the process will be they'll submit a plan. They need to get a little bit more testing because we haven't really done a lot of testing where the building is. So they're going to have to do some internal testing. Hopefully it won't affect the Arts Council too much here. Once we get that back, they will submit a cleanup plan to IDM that will then need to get approved. Then it has to go to insurance to get approval to make sure they're okay with the cleanup plan and the costs. So we anticipate there being cleanup, but not till end of July, August timeline. So we know the Arts Council has several events planned through May, and we assured them that there will be no issues with those. But we want to keep them up to date. We're actually meeting with them and the environmental consultant this week to give them an update as to what the process is. And just didn't want anyone to wonder what was happening.
And there are no current health risks?
There are no health risks or anything. That doesn't seem to be a concern. So.
Great. Any other questions? Now, can I move to item number 9?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay, Tim? All right.
By me.
Thank you. Item number 9, the last meeting, we decided to delay the decision on the solicitation and the final proposals we received on the 4300 West 10th Street parcel, also known as the Gilman parcel. So we've had the opportunity to ask a few questions of the offerers. We've gotten a clarification from one of the offerers, and now it's time for us to make a determination on the acceptance of one of the proposals. So I believe that we have met in executive session, and we do have concurrence on the direction we would like to take. So I will entertain a motion on the proposals that were solicited for the Gilman parcel.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal for the Cushman and Wakefield proposal at 4300 West 10th Street, also known as the Gilman property.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Cushman and Wakefield proposal from the solicitation of the RFPs for the Gilman parcel. Is there any discussion of the motion? Any questions? So hearing none, let's take it to a vote. All in favor of accepting the Cushman and Wakefield proposal for the Gilman parcel, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Quick note on the process moving forward. We currently have an ALTA underway, so when we get that back, we'll start the due diligence process with this group, and then ultimately get to a finalized purchase agreement / economic development agreement. So that'll be in the coming months.
Good. Great. Thank you, Tim. Director's report. Tim, what have you got for the good of the commission in the town?
Just a couple notes for everybody. There will be a public notice going out tomorrow. We currently have an Okra grant for some wastewater improvements underway. That decision will be coming really soon. So in the timeline of everything, we're starting the process to look at our next grant after that. We're not sure, depending on if we get the wastewater or not, it will depend on what the timeline is for this next one. But we're doing the notice starting tomorrow, and it's been decided based on our needs to go after the economic development planning grant next. So we're next in line, which is great news. If it goes through, it'd be a $40,000 grant from Okra to help us with updating our master plan that's over 10 years old now. So, which was one of our main goals for this year anyway. So it's good to start the process. This kind of snuck up on us a little bit, so it's a lengthy process, but if we can kind of get down the road this year and get some funding in place that we don't have to do out of our own accounts. There is a match, it's a small match of about $4,500 that we'd be responsible for, but we're going to put out requests tomorrow and then see what comes back and start the process. Just wanted everyone to be aware. Keep an eye out for it, and hopefully we get several proposals to take a look at.
Let's hope so. Certainly appreciate that.
So, and
Any other items, Tim?
the only other mention is last week we were able to, Tom and I were at the groundbreaking for the War Memorial on Main Street, and while we had a small role in that, we were able to purchase the property to get that thing moving. So we're excited about that and happy to have our hands in it just a little bit, and excited that that's moving forward. It was a really nice groundbreaking. There's a lot of excitement there.
It was. It was well attended. It'll be a great addition to that section of Main Street.
You should actually, they were supposed to start demolition today. I'm not sure if it happened or not.
I don't think I was down there a
Main
little
Street.
bit earlier this afternoon, and it was this afternoon. It wasn't
Okay.
this morning. And they had not started yet.
So hopefully we'll start seeing demolition and getting that moving sooner than later.
Good.
So, and on top of that, they buried the last line over by Sarah Fisher Karting along the B&O. So there's the only line left on Main Street is at the Wilshaw project, which everything's in place to put that underground. So it'll be really nice. There will be no more overhead lines down Main Street, and we should see paving of the B&O trail starting really soon.
It's great. Some
So
good
we're excited about
progress.
that.
Does any of the other commission members have anything they'd like to add before we adjourn?
I don't think so.
Brody? Gordon?
Nope.
Well, as always, please support your local Speedway businesses. They are the mainstay, and it's always great to be able to have so many options now that we've seen some tremendous improvements. And I do want to appreciate everyone that has shown up for our meeting. It's always good to have some public participation. So the time is 6:20, let's call it 6:23. Thank you, Tim. And it is the evening of March 19th, 2018. The meeting is adjourned.